Hey, what's cracking, everyone? Here we are again, once again. Another black person was shot by a cop, uh, and another riot by ne'er-do-wells and half-wit retards who wanted to get free shit from Walmart. The aforementioned guy's name is Keith Scott, who was killed during an altercation with Charlotte police officers down in North Carolina. I don't have much to say about the incident itself. Facts are still coming out, and I hope any sane, reasonable person would understand that I don't want to spread any falsehoods about something as charged as this without being confident that I have the truth behind me. What I can say for certain is that the police officer who shot Keith was himself a black man. In a reasonable world, I would think this rules out racism quite confidently, but alas, that didn't stop a riot from breaking out. It's currently on its second day at the time of this recording. I believe at least one person is dead. Many others are severely injured. On the issue of police departments and black Americans, using reason is damn near useless. The majority of people take a moral stance on the subject, on both sides, before thorough examination on the facts available to everyone in the public. And once a person takes a moral stance, you're not talking them out of it with statistics or anything. Once a person takes a moral stance, it becomes a Herculean task to get him or her to re-examine their beliefs when presented with new evidence. Principles are important, don't get me wrong, but I'm of the opinion that you should never become so enamored with what you thought was true that you can't modify your perspective when you're given new evidence. I don't believe the black people in Charlotte right now who are rioting particularly care about justice or truth. They're behaving irrationally. The mountain of lies about invisible white systemic supremacy and widespread racism in the police force throughout the country has been seeded so deep into the ground of the black American community. I don't see a viable path to calming the situation down. I know that's pessimistic as fuck, but honestly, I don't know if you can talk your way out of it at this point. Certainly nothing I'm going to say here tonight is going to change it. The simple truth is that there is an endemic culture of crime that many black Americans, of course not all, but a very significant portion, indulge themselves in, who want to use these these unfortunate deaths as a way to get police forces out of black neighborhoods so that they can do crime freely without having to worry about any fucking law and order coming to catch up with them. I don't say this because I want, I don't talk about this because I want more racial animosity between people in this country. But that's what the problem is. Instead of solving the issue on an intrapersonal and interpersonal level among black people, it is more fulfilling, I guess, to go out on a thuggish rampage and steal shit from Walmart. Where the influence of the left ends, of the Democratic Party ends, and the animosity of black Americans that some black Americans have towards white America ends and begins respectively, I'm not sure. For a while, I thought it was purely the work of politics. It was purely just as a means of securing the black vote for the Democratic Party. But seeing our country's, very precious ruby bridges that have been built up by both sides of the country on the racial divide being sunk into the river so brazenly, I can't in good conscience any longer put forward the idea that this all comes down to democratic race baiting. It's getting clearer and clearer, as uncomfortable as it may be to say it, that this is a cultural problem black America has, that for one reason or another, I think a lot of it has to do with the rampant single motherhood, personally, but for one reason or another, using reason and discussion to solve problems is being exchanged for violence and foolishness. Do these people think they're going to change anything? I can't imagine so. We need to share this country and find a way to live amongst each other. You know, maybe I'm being too romantic here, but this is one of the greatest nations on earth, and European blood and African blood has been spent maintaining and building this country. If you want racial egalitarianism as a principle to be maintained, it needs to be applied equitably by both parties involved. To be frankly honest here, white Americans have been pulling the lion's share of the wagon when it comes to treating people like individuals and not rushing to group judgments. If this racial animosity continues, I think more and more white people will just adopt ethnocentric attitudes towards other groups. Uh, Maybe in many cases, for most white people, it'll be with reluctance, perhaps, but it'll be necessary as a means of self-defense. Because if a black cop killed a white person or a white cop killed a white person or whatever, we all know that this wouldn't have happened. Ernie and Vlad, would not be throwing rocks off of overpasses onto fucking cars driving underneath. People had absolutely nothing to do with it. I don't think white Americans can do much on our side of the table to resolve these racial issues. There is a deep-seated racial animosity towards white people among black Americans. No matter what way you cut the fucking cake, that's the face you look at when you check out the slice. And I don't like to think in terms of group dynamics, by the way. I vastly prefer, and I always do, treat people as individuals. But it's getting hard. My bad. It's getting hard not to. Sometimes it feels like I'm one of the last fucking people who hasn't let these issues between people in this country, get to my head and start having it change the way I treat people. I think people like me are starting to turn into a fucking dying breed. I'm not sure how long I can, hope that this will be resolved with calmer heads. I don't know how much longer. If that makes me a racist, if anything I said tonight, makes me a racist. I know it's not a very long video, but if it makes me a racist, whatever. It doesn't fucking mean anything. Racism just means that you're telling the truth. That's all I got to say. Take care.